the memories I can give about Avenue P or Coney Island. I began playing there singles against a fellow whose nickname was the Farmer. You've heard them mention the Farmer, Marty Cushman. Marty Cushman also, let me see, I was 19 when I first played him. He was 39. The Farmer had a fierce reputation. I thought that he was right up there with the great players of the day, with Sandler and Howie Eisenberg, and it turns out that he wasn't. He was just under those guys. But the first time I played him, I thought that I was playing really one of the best players in the city. Certainly one of the better players, but not one of the best players. The first game I played him, I beat him 21-14, and I went to the bench to take my sneakers off and put my sandals on to go home. And he shrieked at me, "Where do you think you're going, kid?" I just beat the Farmer. I'm going home. I'm going to be talking. I beat the Farmer, my God. He says, "You got to give me a return." And I'm thinking to myself, like hell, I got to give you a return. What do I care about giving you a return? But he insisted on a return, and he played me, and he beat the living hell out of me in the return game. Half because that's the way he was, and half because I didn't care, because I beat him, and that's all that mattered to me. I didn't care about the second game.
The Farmer was a great player, but he wasn't an elite player. In other words, he could never be like, there's like, I could rattle off 10 names that he could never beat, right? He could never beat Oscar, he could never beat Stevie, he could never beat Howie Eisenberg, he could never beat, a lot of guys, but having said that, that's the only guys that could beat him, right? So there was only like 5 or 6 guys alive that could beat him. The rest, he was great, and he was a character, he was like a weird guy, he was quirky, had like all these weird like idiosyncrasies, and he was a character, you know what I mean? And back in the 50s and 60s, there were hundreds of guys like that had very strong personalities. They played great, and it gave the sport like this unique quality, you know what I mean, where you had all these like very strong egos playing. And
a couple of days later, I returned. We made an appointment, and my father drove me down to meet the Farmer, and we played 2 games. I made 2 points and 3 points. He didn't spare me at all. And from then, I probably played the Farmer maybe 20 or 30 times. He won most of the matches. We always played 2. Rarely did we play 3. Some of the matches were exceedingly close. He fought like a demon every single point. I think the only man I ever saw who fought every point. If he was beating you 20-0, he would go out of his way to score that last point. And if he was losing 20-0, he'd go out of his way to make sure he scored a point. He never, ever eased up. When he turned 50, I played him in 2 separate tournaments. And at that point, it really wasn't fair anymore. He was a very good 50-year-old player, but I was in my prime, and he could barely score. Now, why was he called the Farmer? There were several stories about why he was called the Farmer. I don't know which is myth, which is the truth. The guys at the park said he was called the Farmer because of how he dove on the floor and dug out the shots. I interviewed his wife when he passed away. He passed away at 84 from Lou Gehrig's disease. And when I told her during the interview that's what I was told, that, why he was called the Farmer, she said to me, well, that's as good a story as any. But he owned land in the Philippines. and he wanted to be a cucumber farmer. He wanted literally to be a farmer, and she thinks that's how he got the name, right? And the farmer was such a wonderful character.
There's so many stories, really. There's so many stories. Every person you mentioned, I've probably played with almost every handball player that's been played in the last 50 years.
Play against the farmer?
Yes, the farmer.
What was that like, playing with the farmer?
Well, he was a singles player. He wanted to play singles, and you had to play him. You had to play him at least 3 games.
3 games.
Yeah.
One summer, he and Lucky played at least 3 games every night. I used to hang out there. I worked in a vacation playground during the day.
You let me finish.
And I would play there at night. All right. I played 1 game against the farmer and Freddie Geller. I was playing with Nat Shifter. It was the year after we had won the tournament. An exhibition. Remember they used to have exhibition games?
Oh, Freddie Geller, not
Yeah,
Freddie,
not Bert.
Bert. Okay, that's
Bert Keller was another.
I tried to get a ball
Louis' customers.
that was coming out between the farmer's legs. I dove for it, like my body to lift up in the air, and he landed on my head. I got a bloody nose, and that's the only game I was ever involved with him.
He was tough. You played him singles? Go ahead, finish your story.
Who did I play?
The farmer, you played
He
the
was a
farmer?
I
tough-
played him singles. I had hooks, and farmer loved to have stretch out. He was good running to this side, that side. So I found out the best way to beat the farmer is play in the middle.
Served to his
So I
body.
played him. I would play him in the middle, and I'd throw a hook at him, and he'd get tied up. So I played him not a lot of times. Maybe I played him 5 times. He never beat me. But the last time I played him, he got paralyzed after a while. I played him down in Coney Island, and it was, like he says, at night. So I played him, and singles, and I beat him. So he says, listen, you got to play me at least 3 games. I said, Marty, his name was Marty. I said, Marty, you can't play, it's dark. He says, I don't give a shit. That's the way I like to play. I said,
He would play-
what are you going to gain? He says, because that's my style. So I play with him. It's dark, and he hits the ball, I can't see it, he beats me. This is a true story. He beats me, he says, thank you. I said, I couldn't see the ball, but he had to play three games. And this is true. This is not
Handball was so... I used to think I loved handball more than anybody loved handball, but I have learned that is absolutely not the truth. I think the farmer loved it more than I did. I think Howie Eisenberg loves it more than I did. Albert loves it more than I did. But the farmer lived and breathed it. I mean, it was so important to him. He did a smarter thing than I did, and that was he didn't get married until late in life, so he could play ball all the time. I think handball was probably one of the reasons for the demise of my first marriage. I mean, I played every single day. I mean, like a complete idiot with total disregard for my wife and my kids. It was a mistake, but the farmer didn't do that. He played all the time. But he got married, I think, in his early 40s, and I remember I was driving with him someplace. It must have been to play handball. Well, he wasn't taking me out to dinner, and he told me his wife was pregnant. And then several months later, she had a boy, and he was just so proud. He had a boy, and then a couple of years later, he had a girl. And I said to him, "Hey, it's very nice. You got a girl and a boy." Again, I was in a car with him, and I said, "What am I going to do with a girl?" Now, what am I going to do with a girl? Flick, you know, it's a man's world. What am I going to do with a girl? Well, again, at the interview with his wife, she said to me, his girl became everything to him. He was a pussycat around her. He used to sing lullabies to her. Now, it's hard to imagine rough, tough Marty the Farmer Cushman singing lullabies to his baby daughter, but I assume that that's what he did.